Hello and welcome to the Observe Conversations channel. I am VR Sampath, retired IPS, aka Sampath Ramanujan MFA. For more details, click the link below. Please subscribe and click the bell icon. Thank you. Let's get into the topic for the day. Burdensome culture. How and why culture is burdensome? UG said, culture and heritage-wise, India is the most burdened country in the world. Do you want to know why? Okay, let's consider some points. Before that, let me clarify. Because Indian culture is said to be burdensome, it doesn't mean other cultures are lighter and fit to be adopted in place of this culture. It only means cultures are burdensome as a common whole. Your culture is in your blood. You cannot reject it. Adopting another culture only becomes an added burden and doesn't replace the original culture. You only double your burden. You don't want to get out of one person only to get into another and carry the memories of torture from both. It's nothing but jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Okay, coming back, we claim our heritage is thousands of years old. The older it is, the more is the burden of thoughts, ideas, and the list of to-do things. We say we didn't have a particular religion. It is, or it was, Sanatana Dharma. It means everyone is free to practice whatever faith he wanted. Individually, it sounds good, but collectively, it is burdensome for the society to manage. Added to that are the invasions of foreign cultures and infusion of different customs and heritage. First it was Mughals and then the Britishers. Islam and Christianity entered our DNA and psyche in a big way. Populations were subjugated, coerced, and converted to different cultural influences over centuries. Wars and bloodshed became part of the culture. Because of this burdensome past, cultural and communal clashes are happening even today. Streets were named, renamed, and named again. Texts are being written, rewritten, and updated constantly. History is twisted and education is tampered with. Hence, it is difficult to say whether we are culturally rich or burdened. Coming to the present day, do you think as Indians we are edgy in our demeanor and behavior? We react with anger even to seemingly lighter remarks. Our debates and discussions are heated and abusive over the TV. We are blunt and use harsh words as a matter of routine. We justify everything we do and decry everything others do. We resort to violence to resolve petty matters. We keep debating and fighting over dead personalities and their writings, or raise controversies over historical events which happened or did not happen hundreds of years ago, or keep stoking the fires of caste, creed, and religion to create trouble. Or do you find people flaunting their wealth with unwanted and excessive acquisitions just to show off, which basically means slave mentality, trying to prove themselves superior to others? Do you think people have everything they wanted but still are unhappy? Do you think people as a population are loud talking, angry, impatient, and quarrelsome? Or do you think our culture is overly competitive, putting a lot of pressure on young minds to succeed? All these are signs and symptoms of a burdened culture. We have tons of texts and materials and confused people who have much to fight over but little to cherish. As of now, there are no informed debate about anything significant. Movies appear to be the center of attraction. Movie releases are significant events, not the launch of any welfare schemes. All culture, history, emotions of love, happiness, etc. are assigned to the movies, and movies have become the stage for debates and fights too. For instance, the Bollywood boycott, purely based on cultural issues, and controversies over who killed Rajaraja Cholan 1,000 years ago, based on recent releases. That is why UG is right in saying we are the most culturally burdened people. We need to unburden in order to be free. You are not able to see what I mean? Understandable. We are like fish in an ocean which doesn't know the land, the mountains, and the forests they existed unless the fish leaves the ocean, in which case it will die. Hence, that is the limit of its knowledge as set by creation. Man is in a similar situation. He cannot see how culture rules his life until one day he leaves his culture to get a perspective, to look at it from a different and objective angle, without getting into the trap of another culture which is as bad. Happiness index will skyrocket if cultural burden gets reduced to the minimum. Unburdening is the way. How to unburden yourself? What is your or our burden? We don't know or see. Why would anyone work on unburdening if he doesn't know what is the burden? Well, this video is all about it. In our lives, we are influenced by three factors: society, culture, and family. They form the basis of our life in positive and negative ways. We forget who we are and follow these three blindly. We are encouraged to do so, and we are assured of good results in the future if we do so. But truth may be otherwise. To make us realize this came the non-dual philosophy or monism. It reminded the humanity of existence of a factor called self. Yourself, myself. But it was also twisted to represent self-interest, selfishness or greed or ego. To nullify it, they coined the term selflessness. So self or selfishness or selflessness. Thus, the general population was confused but continued with carrying on with their burdened life. The self is different. It's the factor life is made of. We all participate in it. It is the fundamental grain of life. Well, people couldn't understand this. Where does self reside? We only feel our mind and thoughts. But self? Well, okay. The scientists of the inner realm, whatever that means, sat down and thought deeply. They noticed quantum mechanics of the subatomic level and came up with concepts like consciousness and awareness. Consciousness is the stuff life is made of and not matter. We are one with consciousness and we are united. That sounded good, but are we one? Do we operate as one? No. So man went back or continued with his burdened life, burdened with family, culture, and the society. He continues to labor under this burden, grows old and dies. What happens to him after death, no one knows, as he is not going to come back and tell us. The dying man clings to the promises given by these three until he dies, or more often, he may realize it was all vague promises given by people who knew nothing like he himself. But then it was too late. His time runs out. He is taken off the ventilator of promises and declared dead. The idea of this video is not to get that realization right at the very end when you are helpless, but now when you are young, energetic, full of life. Just unburden, stand erect, take a deep breath and run, dance, celebrate life. How do these three factors ruin you? The culture, society, and family. The culture hands down all the thoughts and ideas of the distant past to you. Proven, unproven, assumed, imagined. For this, the tools used by culture are God, religion, spirituality, temples, festivals, even dress, symbols, and many more things. The family dominates your life entirely. You get out of one, if at all, only to get into another. You feel you have a right to get married and start a family and kids. You are born to do it and you die doing it. You remain preoccupied for life with just rearing your family. Then comes our big brother called society. Big brother is watching. This is literally true. The society loves family. That way, a family is easy to control. It makes laws, rules, police, justice, and executive wings to carry out and ensure your subjugation totally. You are given toys of freedom to vote, freedom of expression, democracy, constitution, fundamental rights, and things like that. You can play with them while the society plays with birds, all the while stacking up sacks of burden on your back. How these three, culture, society and family, get depraved and corrupted. Very few people practice, but most of us are therefore politicizing them. We don't practice but fight for it. Cultural clashes. When I say genuine practice of culture itself is an unwanted burden, what can I call practicing a depraved culture? If a good society is in itself a necessary evil, where is the room for a corrupt society with its twisted ways and political games, filthy institutions and disappearing value systems? The less said about the family system, the better. Lack of understanding and the so-called love and gender wars. Dysfunctional is the word. What is the way out? Leave all these and be lone wolves? Go back to aboriginal existence? We have no option of escaping. Nor can we escape thought. All we can do is to relate to the three appropriately. To understand that these three are only words, only thoughts, in different disguises, imprisoning us. The very understanding unburdens us. Unburdening leads to awareness. Awareness shows the way ahead. Keeps you away from unnecessary people and circumstances. That leads to true freedom and lets you function according to your programming to realize your true potential. Outer world and events are dual by nature. The world is in the grip of dualism. Follow it when dealing with matter. While dealing with your inner self, follow non-dual monism. Follow qualified monism or Vasishtadvaita in relationship when dealing with world and people. This was the way of UG. Finally, we don't have to protest but protect ourselves from these three invisible but real oppressors in the shape of culture, heritage, society, and family. To be able to do this, you need to get conscious young, very young, between 15 to 25 years, not later. Because in these 10 years, all important decisions in your life are taken. Education, job, marriage, and kids. If you are above 35, you are already crystallized into a mix of these three: culture, society, and family. Not much is possible. You are done.